Hey there, folks. This is Andre the Game Idea Guy, and I have a very interesting question to pose to you based upon the Would You Rather format. Now, if you'll humor me, this is something I've been thinking about for a minute, mostly because it was inspired by me having conversations with people I work with, and we talk about video games quite a bit often. And the question that I am posing to you, which you see the title of the discussion here, the question that I'm going to ask to you is based upon the fact that we have gone over multiple different scenarios under which video game world we'd rather be in worlds that are similar enough but yet still different. So, the question that I pose to you as the listener: would you rather be stuck in Resident Evil or Silent Hill? So, when I say this, I will explain the basic premise of the worlds. I'm not going to go into depth into all the nuances, just the basics to get you going. And then I will give my answer towards the end. So, let's break this down properly. We'll start with Resident Evil. So you face zombies and bioweapon threats that were once people. Some of them grew in test tubes. And there are seedy organizations all over the world, generally associated with Umbrella Corporation, that are trying to, I assume, sow the seeds of war by using biological weapons. Again, you'll have to forgive some of my fogginess on details because I haven't played through every Resident Evil game and some things have changed. But you're basically, in general, going to be dealing with slow-moving, ambling zombies. Basics, for the most part. The ones that those type of zombies. I had to act it out. But you're going to be dealing with those type of zombies that move around very slowly, that congregate in large groups. They are easy to deal with for the most part for the majority of people, as long as they don't let their fear take over and they do something that isn't intelligent. If you can generally control your fear, or your fear is an asset to you in avoiding things, you probably would be able to deal with them very easily. Now, the other monsters, the big bio beast that you would have to deal with, I'd leave that for the main cast of Resident Evil. They can deal with them. I'm not a main cast member. I am an NPC in the background somewhere. I'm just trying to survive. So I'm not trying to take on any grandiose monsters or anything like that. Nope. I'm just trying to live. I'm just trying to survive, trying to get out of the range of whatever's going on and live through it. Especially if I was in Raccoon City when all this popped off. All I'm trying to do is get my behind out of that city, away from the rotting, moving corpses. So, in general, for the most part, again, normal people can deal with them. Now, unfortunately, in the Resident Evil universe, a lot of normal people don't have brains because they all run into the threat instead of away from it. That's just one of those things that always got me with that series. But once you know what they are, you have an idea of how they move, you can get around them. The harder part is going to be acquiring what you need to protect yourself. Now, again, if you're in Raccoon City, that's probably not going to be so difficult during the first outbreak, but anywhere else in the world, that may be a challenge. That may be a bit of a challenge. So you're going to have a tough time acquiring what you need to protect yourself. But if you're with a big enough group of people, And potentially, we don't really know about like life inside the universe for Resident Evil outside of what we see in the places where outbreaks have happened. But I could assume that since there is still a working government in the majority of the world, that the outbreak isn't completely spread out, it's just quarantined off into certain sections or certain places per se. Maybe more as acts of terror, more than likely. So you would in general probably be able to find a safe location. Now, there's no guarantee that that location will always be safe, but you will probably be able to find a safe location. And that would be it for the Resident Evil side. Now we're going to dive into the Silent Hill side of things. Silent Hill, and we're going to go with the assumption that the world that the games are based upon, like the other world that you get pulled into, we're going based on the assumption that it can happen anywhere, that there are just certain trigger points for it, which I believe that they said that in the games. It's been a minute, so forgive me if I'm wrong on that, but we're going to behave with that in mind for this scenario. So you can be pulled into that other world where you will face off against who knows what, because everything that you fight in there is not always mentally easily comprehensible for the most part. you kind of facing random things that just turn very deadly. On the upside, you're not facing zombies unless you imagine them. Because that's one of the caveats of that world, of the other side in Silent Hill. And the other side, most of the threats that are there to you are from your mind. They're mental. They're manifestations of your fears, your anxieties, your worries, things that hurt you to your core. That's what they are. And the worst part is they can actually physically harm you. So when you find yourself in that other world, that other place, you are in a metaphysical location that can actually harm you. And in order to get out of it, you have to find another one of those trigger points. So you find a trigger point on accident to get in there, and then you have to find a trigger point to get out of there. All while still having your wits about you and not letting your fear completely consume you. Because if it does, whatever comes out of there is more than likely going to get you. You have to have a certain level of mental fortitude in order to be able to deal with the Silent Hill world. Because again, most of the threats that are coming after you are internal. Now, you can, and it has happened. It happened in Silent Hill 2, which was just recently remade. You can be attacked by the threats from other people's minds. You can. If you have encountered another person that has accidentally ventured into that world, their fears will start to actively haunt you, just as yours will actively haunt them. That's a twister there. That is a twister there. Now, getting out of that world, unless you know where all the trigger points are, is going to be a struggle. It's going to be a hardcore fight for your life to make sure that you survive it. And that is a truth. For all of the people out there that thought Resident Evil and Silent Hill were the same and didn't want to touch Silent Hill because you already played Resident Evil, you missed out. You missed out because you assumed. Even though those games played nothing like each other at the time, even then, they didn't even evoke the same type of fear. But hey, I'm going to get off that tangent. But that's how Silent Hill's world in a general sense operates. Now, which world would I put myself in? Which world would I put myself in if I was stuck with the choice and had no other options? Would I rather go into Resident Evil, where the threats are physical? I may have to deal with some puzzle solving in order to get out of a location. Or would I want to go into Silent Hill, where the things that attack you are in your mind and are metaphysical, but they can still kill you? I think the obvious answer for me is that I'm going to go to Resident Evil, and I'm pretty sure most people that have listened to me probably figured that out. Even if you didn't know me, listening to this video, you probably figured it out. I'm not even going to say video because this is also going to go up on Spotify. So listening to this discussion, you probably figured it out. I have an extremely vivid imagination. And even though I don't scare as easily as a normal person, I still get scared. So, if I don't scare as easily as a normal person, and there are things that still scare the life out of me, what do you think would happen with someone with a hyperactive imagination like me, who also has a subconscious imagination that rolls through things that I don't even become aware of until they hit my consciousness? That's a double whammy. that is a double whammy for me if I were in Silent Hill, because you have my conscious fears manifesting themselves, and then my subconscious fears manifesting themselves. I would be screwed, because there's a likely chance I'm going to imagine something that is bigger, faster, stronger than me, that is able to head me off at every pass, worse than a nemesis from Resident Evil. Yeah, Silent Hill ain't the place for me. I go to Resident Evil in a heartbeat between those two choices. I can deal with puzzles. I'm good at puzzle solving. That's not a problem. I'm pretty decent when it comes down to puzzle solving. You know what? I'm not a gun owner, but I have decent aim if I were to shoot. I'm probably not going to be the most accurate, but I have decent aim if I could shoot. I know how to pick up different weapons and use them. I know how to throw things if I need to. I could more likely survive for a long time in the Resident Evil universe over the Silent Hill universe. I know that for a fact. I am okay with having to solve an elaborate puzzle while a big beast man is chasing me. I am not okay with being in a situation where the horror that is chasing me can pop up anywhere I go at any time and place. And even if I were somehow lucky enough to escape that world, any damage done to me remains. I am beyond PTSD at that point. Even you're going to have PTSD in the Resident Evil universe. You're beyond PTSD in Silent Hill. And if I don't know where the trigger points are, I could stumble back into it again and have the exact same thing I was trying to escape chasing me all over again, even if I find a way to kill it. Yeah, I'm going the Resident Evil route here. I am definitely going the Resident Evil route here. Because I know my mental fortitude is not set for Silent Hill. But since I'm done with that, I've said what I had to say. I gave my general overview. Again, it's a general overview. It's not nuanced. I'm not diving into the depths of it. Just giving the general idea about it. So, what I would like to know, as I asked at the beginning of this discussion, which one would you rather dive yourself into? Are you going to be able to deal with the external threats from Resident Evil better? Or are you going to be able to deal with the internal threats from Silent Hill better? You know yourself. Pick based upon what would be a better fit for you as a person. And I look forward to seeing everybody's replies. Thank you guys very much for listening again. Keep your eyes and ears out for more stuff from me. And until the next time, enjoy your games. Peace out, everybody.